Hi everybody. It's been a while since we've done this, but this is the AmeriTaiNadian podcast with Brian from American in Taiwan. He has a YouTube channel. He's living in Taiwan and he's waving at us right now. So today we're gonna do you want to say hi?
Yeah, yeah. Like Dan says, welcome to the AmeriTaiNadian podcast. I can't remember what episode we're on.
I think we're
We're
on
a few
8.
episodes in. Eight? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, check out the old ones. And in this one, I think we're just going to do a quick kind of summary of the elections that just took place yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, so was that yesterday? Yeah, it was just yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Um,
yesterday.
Yeah, right, just yesterday. So yeah, we talked in previous episodes a little bit about like what are I don't know if we made predictions, but we were still in unknown territory. I think it was a couple months before, right?
Oh
Which
yeah, that no, that
yeah,
was way back. So I was still kind of wondering if Han would even make it to the
yeah, yeah,
general election.
right, because it was between him and the Terry Guo, right? The
Yeah, right.
billionaire.
I don't even think, did we even pass the primary yet? The last time we did a
No, I think it
podcast?
was still the primary. It was
Okay,
still the
so
primary, yeah.
yeah, maybe we were in the primary or maybe we were just past the primary. So it was a long time ago,
Yeah.
suffice it to say.
Yeah. Um,
A
yeah,
lot has
and
happened since then.
yeah, yeah. So briefly going over that. So Han, Korean fish, as we like to call him,
That's right, Korea.
made it to the general. He was the nominee for the KMT, and the sitting president, President Tsai, was the nominee for the DPP. And I guess my thoughts going into it was, you don't want to underestimate the populist candidate, as many people have called Han.
Hmm.
I've even heard people kind of, I don't know if you would agree with this, but kind of compared him with Trump.
Yeah, in some ways yes, some ways no. It's not a perfect
It's
comparison.
not a perfect comparison, no. I mean, the first thing that comes to my head is they're both sensitive about their hair. If anybody like insults their hair or
Yeah,
lack thereof,
yeah, that's true.
they're a
That's
little
definitely
sensitive to
true.
that. But on Twitter, I've seen stuff like, Taiwan has shown the world that you can defeat the populist candidate.
Yeah,
You
right.
can't just.
That's Jenna Lynn Cody's article from La Rancha.
Oh, okay. So I can't remember specifically who it
I
was,
no,
but
I just I recognize just like the little tagline that you just said because
okay,
I just saw it when I was scrolling through Facebook and
right.
she's over the moon that Tsai won, so that's why she's writing that.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
She's very
Um,
happy.
yeah. So I guess my thoughts going into it was, you don't want to underestimate Han, because I don't know, I'm here in Vancouver, you're in Taiwan, so you would have a better feel of what's going on like on the ground. But you know, like previous examples with Trump and Brexit, all that, my feeling was you don't want to underestimate the populist, right? And
Yeah,
the whole
for
thing
sure.
about how his supporters are older, and older people tend to vote more than the younger generation.
Hmm.
Younger people tend to be more complacent. And I think you were even trying to tell me how cultish his following was. And
Because they are. I mean,
yeah,
they just are. They're
yeah,
very much like that, They will not leave him no matter
yeah,
what, you
yeah.
know.
It's kind of strange because, well, okay, so another thing I saw on Twitter was that some people one person made the analysis, and I guess a couple of people were agreeing with them that there were voters that were voting for the KMT and not because of Han. And I'm not sure what the percentage that would be for like the opposite, for somebody that's like on the fence but really likes Han. Like I don't know what the pie chart would look like. But what do you think? Like
Okay,
for people,
so I mean, I think my thoughts overall are very much in line with yours. Like,
yeah,
I think it's very wise to not underestimate your
Yeah,
opponent
yeah,
and to not just read the polls and go, "Oh, look, we're way up. It's a done deal. We don't even need to worry about a thing." I think that's really stupid. I think 2016 American election has shown that you should never ever do that.
yeah, yeah,
It's just a bad idea. Like you always have to be on guard,
yeah, yeah.
no matter what. Like there's just
And
no way around it.
yeah, and I think I don't know if this is just showing how much like if I'm like just spending too much time on Twitter, but another thing that I saw was that apparently
Oh,
the
you're
KMT.
deep in that Twitter.
Well, I don't know, maybe.
I've still resisted the pull to get on
Yeah.
Twitter.
I think even on Twitter, like there were claims that the KMT were like calling foul and how like I think they were.
But they always do that. Even
Yeah.
when they had the massive win in the midterms,
Mm,
you had them coming out with all kind of conspiracies about, oh, the DPP stole the election and over here they stole it over there and they were buying votes, blah blah blah. There
yeah.
was irregularities, blah blah blah. Like
I
there's
think
all criminality.
yeah. I think this time they're
They
claiming
always
like
do
the
that shit.
polls were skewed or whatever, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, see, there's actually funny business with that though, because Korea Fish deliberately tried to sabotage public polling.
How do you try to do that?
He told his followers and everybody who was pan blue to pretty much lie to the pollsters. He
To make
told
it
them
look like
specifically to do that. He told them when they call you, you tell them that you're not going to vote at all or that you're going to vote for Taiwan.
hmm,
So basically, that nobody would know the truth of what was going on. Like you couldn't rely on polls, and it
yeah,
wouldn't be something that's dragging him down or making him look bad because he could always say, "What? Those polls are bullshit anyway. Like you
yeah,
shouldn't believe them."
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I guess his idea was to make it look like Ty was in the lead, making some voters complacent, and then he could have like a surprise victory sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So there's
Yeah,
that, and then there's also, like I said, he could make excuses, right? He could go the well, I'm down in the polls, but the polls don't matter because they're fake. They're fake
yeah,
news,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Well, surprise, surprise. The sitting president won. Han was defeated. Where how was it
By a
watching?
big margin, by a big
Yeah,
margin. I don't know if I send you a screenshot on
yeah.
Facebook Messenger of that?
You sent me a picture that you took of the TV that you were watching, I think.
Yeah, because he got his ass whooped. Like let's
How
be
what
honest.
what
Man
what
got his
was
ass.
what was the feeling watching the whole thing? Because I didn't
Um,
stay up.
at first when we were at our shop working, so
Okay.
we had like well, first I was listening to the radio, right? ICRT, which is the International Community Radio, which is like the only radio station in English.
Hmm.
So I was
That
listening to
covers
that in our
Taiwan.
shop. Yeah, it covers Taiwan, and since they were doing national elections, they had like election coverage.
Right.
So I was listening to that, and then we switched over because we wanted to go outside, and we don't have a plug-in for the radio, right? It's
Hmm.
like a little boombox, and you need to plug it in,
Yeah.
right? So we didn't have a plug outside, so we switched to her phone, and we were just watching like a live stream on YouTube on her phone
Right.
and following it that way. And they do the continuously updating the like the numbers of
Right.
how many votes are being counted, you know.
And were you anxious? Were you, what was the feeling?
At first, I think we were both excited, and then as the night went on, I was like, "Oh, okay, it's a done deal. Like she's up by so many. There's no way he's gonna come back, right?"
Yeah.
And then I was kind of bored with it. My wife, on the other hand, was like the entire time she was like super excited and happy and like, he's winning, she's winning,
Yeah.
she's kicking his ass, like it's great. She was really happy about it.
Okay. So I'm guessing she voted too? Well, I
Yes, she
mean,
did. She
did
did. She
you?
voted very early in the morning. She
Okay.
went out and she rode the train because her household registration is in Taipei, not in New Taipei. So she had to ride the train into the city and vote that way.
And can you vote?
No, I'm not a citizen. You have to be a citizen.
Okay. Are you I think we talked about it last time, but are you wanting to be a citizen or Can you be a
Um,
dual American
I
and
would love
Taiwanese?
to, but they don't allow dual citizenship for foreign born. So
Wait, you can't have, okay. Because somebody was telling
not
me
for
to
foreign
get,
born. If you're Taiwanese born, you can be dual, but if you're
right.
foreign born, you can't. So,
Wait, what about me then?
well, I don't know. Were you born Taiwanese, or did that come later, or do you not have that? Do you have it?
No, I mean, I was born here, but
Okay.
and I have Canadian passport. I don't think I have a, no, I'm pretty sure I don't have a Taiwanese passport, but I have a friend who was born in Brazil, and one of her parents was Taiwanese, and she went back and she has a Taiwanese passport. I don't
Really?
know, like
Hold
if
on. How old is she?
oh, she's 28. Yeah, 28.
Okay, because I think maybe like after you turn 18, you might not be able to get that anymore or something. It might be one of those deals where it's like you get it
Uh,
from like
uh,
from birth through your parents, but you have
uh,
to do it before you become an adult. I'm not sure.
I wonder if it's, yeah, I think it has to do with like because one of your parents is Taiwanese. That's probably it.
Yeah, I don't know what the requirements are. I don't know if it has to be one parent, two parents.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's an age limit on it. I have no idea.
Okay. Because I think my friend was telling me that I could if I wanted to, but I just never saw the point because I don't travel that much. I don't need an additional passport. But my,
True. Also, you don't want to be called up for military service if you come here. So
yeah, I wonder if that would be a thing. Because I was
I'm
born and
pretty
raised.
sure you don't want to do a year of national service.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know.
Although it's not the end of the world. My friend actually did it, and it's not the end of the world. It's not that bad.
Wait, your friend that is like white or
No, no, my friend who's a Taiwanese citizen and only a Taiwanese citizen.
oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
I think he was in the Coast Guard. I
Okay.
think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was in the
Um,
Coast.
okay, wait, I'm trying to find that you and I both watch China Uncensored, right? From time to
Yeah,
time.
yeah, I do pretty regularly. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't tune in.
Okay. Because I believe they had this guy on Lev Nachman. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh, Lev Nachman. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Nachman. Okay. Yeah, he was giving some commentary on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw the episode he did on China Uncensored. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I've never seen him talk. Well, yeah, I've never seen him talk before. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting. Like from here, because uh, I don't really talk to my like immediate family about the election.
I know he
Um,
talked to some people. Oh, and by the way, I made this joke earlier, but I'm not sure you heard me because of tech issues. But hey, I don't think you're gonna get any free fried chicken, are you?
oh, yeah. No, I didn't. Yeah, no. So
Yeah, that's
you,
not
yeah.
gonna.
Wait, is my webcam frozen again?
Unfortunately, yeah, I think so. I'm not sure what's going on. It seems to freeze every other minute.
Okay, that's annoying. But, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think it's frozen again. I mean,
Uh-oh. You were good for a second there. I don't know what's going on.
there. All right. Yeah, no fried chicken. So what Brian is referring to is there was a, I think yeah, I was working for a family and the person that set me up with the job, we went I guess we went to buy takeout for dinner and the shop owner was a supporter of Han and he said if Han won, he'll buy us free chicken, deep fried chicken. So that's not happening.
Yeah, that's not happening. You'll have to pay.
Yeah, I have to pay.
Oh well.
Yeah, I think yeah, my dad was I think my dad didn't sleep because he had like friends in Taiwan that was having like I don't know, like a big dinner and watching the election at the same time.
Oh, I'm
So
sure. I'm
and
sure.
I think
Business was
that
dead last night. Nobody was on the streets. Everybody was inside and watching the TV.
oh, that would have been interesting to just like film the street and see how like
Oh, it
empty
was
it
a total
was.
ghost town, man.
Yeah. So yeah, they were all calling him and like video Skyping him and like yeah. Um,
Was
yeah,
he
my
paying attention closely, or was he only just talking to his friends? And if they didn't call him, he wouldn't even care.
he's pretty apolitical. Um, I mean, I guess he's more he's more blue though, just because of his identity and
Sure, we've talked about that.
yeah. Even though he does like criticize the KMT a bunch too.
Oh, for real? Okay, I haven't heard that.
Yeah. Like he'll say like they're all shit, you know? Like people like friends have asked him before, like coming to our parents' restaurant and like they'll want to sit down and like they're he'll have some friends that are like really into it and they'll always ask him, so who would you vote for? And then my dad would be like, ah, they're all crap. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
But
he's one of those dudes who's like, oh, I hate everyone equally.
kind of. Yeah. I feel like if I don't know, I mean, you could say this about the DPP as well, but then if there is somebody that is more likable to him in the KMT, that he'll probably support it that way. But I don't think he would ever get off his ass and vote himself.
Okay, so he wouldn't jump on a plane and come over here.
No, no, I don't
Because
think
I
he's
actually do have some friends who've done that. So
okay. Yeah, I don't think he's ever voted ever in the Taiwanese elections.
yeah, because you told he left,
Yeah,
he immigrated before democracy, right?
yeah, yeah. He left Taiwan before that started, so he
So he never
never.
had a chance to vote.
No, no. And yeah, I don't think he'd be interested, to be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it, does it?
No, no. Um, but yeah, back to the results. So I was having dinner with my dad yesterday, and my sister came home for dinner, and they very very briefly talked about how um, it was it was it was it was a crushing defeat for Han.
Hmm.
Um, but I
What
think
about your sister? What is her personal take on all this? Does she
she
care very
doesn't
much or
she
no?
doesn't pay attention. No.
Okay, so she doesn't really care.
No, no. And my mom used to go back every 4 years to vote. Although I think they changed the rules. Like you can't um not be in Taiwan for over 2 years. If that happens, you can't come back and vote. I think that's the rule.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my
Okay,
mom,
yeah,
yeah,
that sounds about right because I had a friend who came back here to vote this time, and I think he came back to vote in the midterms too. I'm not entirely sure.
yeah, because
That
I
would
had a
fit though because they're 2 years apart. So,
yeah, I had a friend who is in Taiwan right now, and I just asked him, "Oh, are you going back to vote?" And he's like, "No, I can't. I left the country for over 2 years." So I was like, "Oh,
hmm.
okay." Um, but I had another friend who is in Taiwan who voted. I think his girlfriend voted blue and he voted green.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm not 100% sure if he voted green, but he said that it's the Greens have a majority, right?
Yeah,
In the
okay.
election.
So, if we want to go there, then yeah, we
Yeah.
should talk about what's going on with the with Parliament or the Legislative UN.
Yeah. And he actually said that it is well, I don't know if I'm translating it the best here, but he said it's kind of a shame that the Greens have a majority because he would prefer it to be more split to give them a check and balance, I guess, to keep them in check. He would prefer it to be more balanced, even
Yeah,
though
it
I
seems pretty split to me. I mean, I don't know. Let me see. Chart right in front of me. I'm on Wikipedia.
okay.
So according to Wikipedia, currently the DPP, that's the major Green Party, has 62 seats, and the Kuomintang has 38, And then you get to the third parties. So the Taiwan People's Party, that's the one that was created by Dr. Ke, who is the mayor of Taipei City. They
Oh,
have they
did
have
they
five
run
seats.
in the federal?
They ran in the races for the legislative UN. They did not run
Okay.
for president.
Okay. Gotcha.
They're very new. So now
Yeah.
they're the largest third party. Before it was the New Power Party.
Yeah.
So now currently the New Power Party has 3 seats. And there's also this new political party called the Taiwan State Building Party, and it
Okay.
says that they have 1 seat. Oh,
Oh,
and there's 5 independent candidates in the legislative UN too. And I also want to add, especially that Freddie Lim, the heavy metal rocker, got reelected, so he's going to stay in the legislative UN.
yeah. So is he still the leader of the party?
Yeah, so he was the leader of the NPP, and then he wasn't, and then he left the party, and then some other notable people left the party because there was this big like civil war in the party between people who wanted to run their own candidate for president and people who wanted to support Taiwan, and it got really messy. And then there was like this scandal, and one girl got kicked out of the party because she was involved in some kind of minor corruption.
Hmm.
It was a mess, and the party almost kind of like imploded and like I
This
don't know,
was
faded
Freddie's
into
party?
nothingness. Yeah, it used to be Freddie Lim's party, right?
Wait, oh,
Freddie
so
Lim
yeah.
was one
So
of the ones who helped to set up the party after the Sunflower Student Movement, right, which
right.
happened years ago.
2014, yeah.
Yeah, 2014. That's right.
Um, wait, so I didn't catch that. So is he the leader of the party now, or is he just
Well, no, he left, right?
yeah,
Because of the Civil War. He was like, look, the smart thing to do, the strategic thing to do is to back up Taiwan. That's
yeah.
what I'm going to do. If you don't like it, then deal with it. And if you don't want me here, then I'll just go. And so he just left, right? He's like, I'm an independent now. I represent myself. That's it. You
Hmm.
know, that's
But
it.
you said he voted back. So is he just an independent now?
Yeah, he
Oh,
ran as an independent candidate to be
okay.
reelected to his seat because he was already in parliament, right?
Okay, got
Because
you.
he ran last time NPP and he won, and this time he was up for reelection and he won, but not as NPP, as
Got you.
independent.
Got you. Got you. Okay. Um, yeah, so do you think that the legislative it's not too one-sided? Do you think it's pretty split?
Okay, well, so if you look at it on Wikipedia, there's kind of like one of those color maps that kind of gives you a breakdown,
Yeah, I think I'm
right?
looking at it right now.
Okay, so they have it split pretty well, like easy to understand. Like the left is pan green and the right is pan blue, right?
Yeah.
Are you seeing what I'm saying?
Yeah, although the blue is much smaller
So
compared to the
yeah,
green.
right. So the blue, obviously the blue's in the minority, right? They already were. It seems they gained a few seats actually. The DPP lost a few seats,
Okay.
but the DPP is still obviously they're in the majority. Obviously they're still in the majority. What's weird is the TPP, right? The Taiwan People's Party,
Yeah.
because I see them as kind of like leaning to the blues. I see them as light blue, and I've heard other commentators say that.
Really?
But yeah, but just last night when I was listening to ICRT, I heard another commentator say that no, 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 that's not really true. They're actually light green, and they actually lean to the greens.
But you think that they lean to the blues?
Yeah, well, personally, I think they lean to the blues
But aren't
because
they
Dr.
like
Ko
yeah.
Wen-je, who's the leader and the founder of the party, I see him in the way he speaks and behaves as more blue.
Oh, wait. So you're talking about the mayor?
Yeah, the mayor of Taipei. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, so I got mixed that up with the Freddy's party. So
No,
tell
no.
me the
Okay, so
names of the
forget
few.
Freddie. All right,
Yeah, yeah.
forget Freddie. Forget the MPP. Now we're talking about TPP,
Oh,
Taiwan People's Party.
TPP. Okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah. That sounds a little bit like the uh I think it's called the Trade Pacific
Yeah, the
Partnership.
Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's the same acronym.
Yeah.
It's not a great acronym. And to be honest with you, I think setting up that party was like really kind of I don't know, dude. I really don't like Dr. Ke. I think he's kind of a douchebag.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, really. I think he's so egotistical.
Mm.
Just in the way that he went about like setting up that party and the name he chose and all of that stuff. It's kind of it's really douchey. Like just my personal opinion.
Okay.
People can disagree. That's fine. But
Yeah.
I think he's a douchebag.
Okay. So okay, yeah. So yeah, 'cause that confused me a little bit because I thought, yeah, no, the MPP is more like green, right? You would say
Yeah,
because
no,
they're
they're very green. Like
yeah.
if you want to be totally honest, like DPP is probably like mainstream. They're like light green even if you want
Yeah.
to really get into it.
Yeah.
But MPP and this new one, the Taiwan State Building Party, they're like super green.
Mm,
They're very, very green. Like they don't want to have anything to do with China at all.
yeah. 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 Yeah, no, the China Uncensored interviewed one of the guys from the NPP. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, back in the day, Chris Chappell did an interview with Freddie Lim.
Oh, really? I didn't see
You
that.
know,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, definitely. He did one, and then at the end, he was like, "Freddie, will you teach me how to scream like you do during your concerts?" And Freddie was like, okay, here we go." And Chris was like, "Okay, I'll try too."
Oh, funny. Okay.
Yeah, it was really goofy because like you saw Freddie's face when he asked that. Freddie was like, are you sure? Like, are you
Yeah.
serious? You really want me to do that?" He's like, I guess I can if you really want me to."
Yeah. Um, so voter turnout, 14 million people voted
It was
out of
high. I think voter turnout was very high.
yeah, out of 19 million eligible voters. With a population of what, 23 million or something?
It hovers around 23, 23 and a half.
Okay. So yeah, that's pretty high, right? I'd say. I mean,
Yeah, no, that's very high.
I feel like the voter turnout in Taiwan is almost it is more than the United States. It's over half because I think
Oh, for
only
sure. Like in America, you have so many people who just don't give a shit.
oh yeah, interesting. Hmm. Yeah, no, I think the voter turnout is usually like half the country votes in the United States, right?
Yeah, it's not good. I don't know what the exact figures are, but it's certainly not good.
Yeah, yeah, because
See,
this
I
is
don't know.
like
I'm
yeah,
sure we can find official stats for that. I don't know where I need to click to find that.
yeah, no, I think yeah. So voter turnout was yeah, 75%, nearly 75%.
75% is huge,
It's
dude.
huge
That's
for sure.
huge. For a mature democracy, that's huge.
Would you consider Taiwan a mature democracy?
At this point, yes. At this
Okay.
point, yes.
Okay, because I've
Because
heard.
you've had there's kind of a benchmark that I've seen thrown around a lot is they say you have to have two peaceful transfers of power.
Oh, okay,
And they've
okay.
had that, right?
Yeah, they,
Because
yeah,
it's gone blue to green to blue to green to blue to green. So,
yeah. Fair.
right.
Okay, fair enough. Um, is the millennial generation the majority of the eligible voters?
That I do not know.
Okay.
I don't know what the largest age cohort is for voting or
Yeah.
registered voters. I don't know.
Okay. Because I think that's the case in Canada now, or the might
I
be.
know it's the case in the United States for
Yeah.
sure. Like millennials are the largest cohort, but they don't vote, so
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't get what they want,
Yeah. It's so interesting.
which
Eh?
is
I
pretty
wonder.
obvious, right? Like if you don't participate, you're not going to get what you want.
Yeah. 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 I wonder if like 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, if our generation is going to start to vote more. Like, I don't know what it is
We
about.
will. It's just as you get older, you start taking shit more seriously, and you get more like civic minded. You're like, oh, I have to be responsible. I have to like take care of my things, and you know how it is.
Yeah, yeah.
When
I
you're young and you're 18, you're like, woo, yay, let's go to the movies, let's drink beers, right? Maybe we'll get lucky, we'll see some titties tonight, right? And you don't think about politics. Come on.
unless you're boring like me. No,
Yeah, like unless you're like a super dork like me or you and you read a lot and you follow the news and people are like, "Hey man, do you want to go out?" You're like, "No, I got to finish this novel." Like,
yeah, um, yeah. Where you wake up early Sunday morning to do a podcast on post-election results.
right, right. If you're doing an in-depth like podcast on election results in a different country.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it'd be interesting to see like how elections would be when our generation actually starts to vote more than any other generation.
Yeah, so you know what? I actually heard because I watch it I watch it a lot. There's this program called Current Affairs Taiwan, which is like a weekly or an almost like a bi-weekly podcast, but they also have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
I think I've shared it with you before. I'm not sure if you keep up with those guys though.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
it I like it. I think it's very good. They usually keep it pretty brief. They keep it to about like 30 minutes most of the time.
Yeah.
And they do the most important things. Like they don't do any like pop culture bullshit. It's all like heavy duty politics, right? Really dorky stuff.
Yeah.
So it fits pretty well with me. And what they said was that they've done a lot of polling recently or surveys in universities or just like young people in general to see what parties they support the most. And it seems with young people from like the millennial generation, Generation Y, is the parties they support the most are NPP, the Taiwan State Building Party, and then to a lesser degree DPP, and then to the least would be the KMT.
Okay, interesting. So
So
they're
if that
actually
continues down the line, every year, right, older people die off, the younger people get older and they start voting more. I think that it's going to get greener and greener and greener and greener.
yeah, yeah. I would imagine so too. And yeah, so yeah, it's interesting that they're also looking at the third parties, eh?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hear some people saying things that they think that the KMT is going to like implode and that they'll never come back.
Hmm.
I've heard that before. I've heard that kind of talk before, like, oh, the KMT is going to change forever. They'll never be the same again. I think it's bullshit. I think the precedent's been set. I think we've seen before from the midterms that that's not true. They'll always come
Yeah,
back,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
You can never let your guard down.
Yeah, you can't just dismiss like let's let's just like go back and see how many votes they got. I think it was
They
uh
crushed in the midterms. We remember that clearly.
oh yeah.
We
Um
we talked about that all the time.
yeah, the KMT got 5 million votes.
Hmm.
So yeah, you can't just dismiss 5 million people. And I think yeah, like I said, there were people that supported the KMT but didn't necessarily like Han. So like if we had another more
Yeah, you
likable,
can protest vote. You can always do that.
yeah. Well, I'm just saying like if the KMT got a more likable candidate, the
Yeah,
KMT
but
might
God,
might have.
dude. I was telling another friend of mine, also Canadian, but living in Alberta, I think.
Yeah.
Um, he's an interesting cat, but I won't go there.
Okay.
Anyway, I was telling him
Is he
that
Taiwanese?
no, he's not.
Okay.
He's very white,
Okay.
like really white.
Okay.
But the thing I was telling him, like the important thing I wanted to bring up was that the problem with Han Goyu is that he's like an expert at putting his foot in his mouth. Like
Hmm.
you couldn't do a better job of pissing people off. Like I
Interesting.
don't know how he does it, you know?
Hmm.
I don't know how he does it, but he always manages to say or do something that makes him look really stupid really rude, really racist, really bigoted, like really just like a selfish asshole. I
Huh.
don't know how he does it, you know?
And yet he has a cultish following.
Well, yeah, because there's like a hardcore out there
Sorry, you
who
broke up.
just
Can you say that again?
I was just gonna say there's a hardcore group of folks out there who will never forgive Taiwan for being green, for being a woman, and for
Hmm.
doing pension reform.
Hmm. Interesting.
They're never gonna forgive her for that. They don't care. Like it doesn't matter what she does.
Hmm.
They'll hate her forever.
I think my grand aunt was just telling me, like I don't know, there's some teachers or whatever from the older generation that receive like a really good amount of money, and I think my grand aunt was in agreement with the pension reforms because she thinks that they already got enough, or like I think,
Oh, totally, dude. They look. Most young people who work right now are lucky if they make 30 to $40,000 a month. Okay, NT.
yeah,
These pensioners are getting like 60, 70,000, $80,000 a month, and they don't even work.
that's like retirement money, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pension. Like they don't
yeah,
have to do anything. They can sit on their ass and wait for the check to roll in.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So if that's getting cut by just like a few thousand, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to really cry too much for you.
yeah, 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 fair.
Like you're doing fine. Like you'll be just fine. Trust me.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I guess what I wanted to talk about was we talked about our generation getting older and our generation starting to vote more and potentially making Taiwan a little more green. With and I'm sure that Beijing is aware of that. They're not
Oh,
stupid.
they know. Oh, you better bet that Xi Jinping was pissed last night. He was so angry.
Yeah, and especially
You know they were
after.
following it.
Oh, absolutely. And especially after last night, I would imagine that they're going to do something to in response to this. And
Oh, for sure. I mean, look, I don't want to get crazy because my wife was getting a little silly. She's like, "Oh my God, see, I told you the fortune tellers said that Taiwan was gonna win, and she did. See, haha, I told you." And then she said, like, "Oh, I just remembered. The fortune teller also said that China was gonna do something bad to us this year."
I mean, God.
Yeah, come on. I don't. I I I obviously don't go in for that, and I know you don't. Like as an atheist, I know you hear that, and you're like, "Come on, bro." Like,
You know what? My aunt actually brought me to a fortune teller once.
did
So,
she really?
yeah, yeah.
What did they do? Did they read your palm or something?
Oh, dude, it was like a small bucket of like wooden sticks that had writing on them. I
Oh,
don't know
I
if you've
know
seen
it.
that before.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah. It's like you kind of you draw the sticks out and yeah,
yeah, I
it's
think they tell
maybe you
me to
get lucky, maybe you don't.
yeah, it was like yeah, I draw three and then he tells me something. I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Don't
Um
think too much about it. It's not scientific at all.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Although yeah, I remember asking him like, how does this work exactly? He was just like, it's just how it is. I'm like, okay,
It
whatever.
is. It's just how it is, Dan. It's all very spiritual.
Yeah. But anyway, so with Beijing paying attention to this and like reacting to this, because okay, so because they're not dumb, they know that the future generations are going to vote more green.
They,
Um,
I know that they're paying attention. I don't necessarily know that they know that the future is going to be greener and greener.
well, they got to. I mean, they're not stupid. They know that younger
But then why?
generations.
But then the question begs, why do they keep behaving the way they do? Because everything they do, like they seem to think that it's going to push people closer to them, but everything they do pushes people farther away.
You mean them trying to attract the youth in Taiwan?
Yeah, they always try all these different schemes to try to bring people closer in or to make them more pro-China, and it always seems to backfire.
Like what? I don't know about this.
Well, like they try to pile on the pressure and they try to steal Taiwan's diplomatic allies, right? So they'll try to buy off some countries to recognize China over Taiwan, right? Okay, or they'll try to threaten private companies to fire employees who speak positively about Taiwan or about being Taiwanese.
Oh, I thought you
Um,
were talking about things that Beijing was doing to make the youth actually like China.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, putting on the pressure, right?
Yeah.
That's part of it, but also, right, they have these schemes where they're like, oh, we'll give you like a special passport, or we'll give you like a special ID card, or
Mm.
we'll give you like an incentive to come over here and do a startup, right? Blah blah blah. It doesn't seem to work. It never seems to work. It always seems to backfire.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
never gets like the giant like reception that they think it's going to get, right? It
Yeah.
never seems to work.
Hmm.
People are always like, yeah, look, bro, we know what you're trying to do and we're not interested.
Okay. It's good that they wisen up to that act. Um yeah, but I guess I'm curious to see what the future holds. Like if the country moves more green over time and she when Taiwan for the first time after I think this was in the beginning of 2019 when she was like we won't exclude the use of force in taking Taiwan back, right? That was
Ooh, Xi Jinping?
yeah, yeah. Do you remember that?
Well, he's been saying that forever, though.
Well, I think when it was Ma Ying-jeou, the previous president,
Yeah, well,
they
okay, so under Ma Ying-jeou, they kind of had like a different strategy where it was like, we're not going to be explicitly friendly, but we're also not going to be explicitly hostile. Like, we're just going to kind of be quiet.
yeah, and when the KMT lost and Taiwan, they kind of changed their tune, right?
Oh yeah, no, they got really angry and they got really salty and they started stealing the diplomatic allies. They started blocking tourists from coming over here, and
Yeah, yeah.
we've talked about it.
Yeah. So w when this country moves more towards the green side, I would imagine that Beijing just gets more and more hostile, right?
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I don't think it's going to achieve anything. It's just going to backfire. Like the more you try to push something or force something, the less people want it. It's obvious, right?
Yeah. I wonder if this would escalate tensions. I mean,
Well, if you believe my wife and the fortune tellers. But look, okay, so like just speaking totally seriously and honestly, I don't think realistically we're going to see any major military confrontation
Hmm,
in anytime soon.
okay.
I
Okay.
just I just don't see it happening. There's too much to lose, if that
Hmm,
makes sense.
yeah. So you're not too fearful of a Chinese takeover?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Good to hear.
Like I said, I think there's too much to lose. And look, if that is in the cards, we're going to know about it way, way ahead of time.
Hmm.
There's no
Okay.
such thing as a sneak attack. And I've said this before because of weather and geography, there's no such thing as a sneak attack.
Hmm. Okay.
You have to pre-plan it. There's no other way.
Okay.
And if you pre-plan it, then we're going to have satellite pictures, we're going to have intel, and we're going to know when and where you're coming and how many people you're coming with.
Right.
So it's suffice it to say, it's going to be very, very difficult. Like the only advantage that they would be able to have would be like secrecy. And since they don't get to have a lot of secrecy because they have to pre-plan anything, then they don't really have much of an advantage at all, other than, I don't know, overwhelming numbers, right?
Hmm.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
all they really have.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know.
I, I
Good to
just I
hear.
don't. I mean, you can disagree. That's fine. I don't
No,
have.
no,
I'm not
it's
forcing anybody to say anything.
no, no. I have zero uh like I don't have a strong opinion on this because the only thing for me is just I don't want to be complacent, and I don't want to be like, ah, everything's gonna be all right forever.
Well, no,
But
I'm not. Look, I'm not saying we should never worry ever again,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
I'm just saying like you don't have to stay up all night worrying about if missiles are gonna,
yeah.
rain down on Taiwan because they're not.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, because I was just watching. I think there's a network that China Uncensored is attached to. I think it's
Yeah, NTD.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think they were doing an
They're linked
interview.
to the Falun Gong for sure.
Oh, okay. And
And
how do you
and
feel
to
about
that
that?
newspaper, the Epoch Times.
And how do you feel about that?
What, the link to the Falun Gong?
Yeah.
Um, okay, so full disclosure, my mother-in-law is Falun Gong,
Okay.
and my mother-in-law also happens to be somebody I don't get along with a
Okay.
lot of the time.
Okay.
Um, Look, I don't hate Falun Gong people. I don't think being Falun Gong automatically makes you evil. I don't think it's a very good religion. It's not something I want to follow.
Yeah.
I think they're very conservative socially, and I
Mm.
think they have some weird beliefs when it gets to like racial things and when it comes to like gays and lesbians. It gets a little weird.
Mm.
There's
Okay.
some weird stuff about it and some stuff that makes me feel uncomfortable.
Interesting. But yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, I don't really. I don't think it kind of bleeds in. Those things don't really bleed into Chris Chappell's shows, eh?
No, I don't. I've never heard him say or like on the down low kind of try to move towards like, oh yeah, aren't the gays horrible? And I've
Yeah.
never heard him say like, oh, aren't black people the worst, right? Like,
That'd
I've
be
never heard that.
yeah, that'd
So
be career suicide for him.
yeah, well yeah, obviously, but they're obviously it's a very right wing show. I'll say that it's very neocon. I think, personal opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, the reason why I brought that up was because I was watching very, very, very briefly an interview that was done by the NTD network. I think that's what they're called, right? The
Right, yeah. The Falun Gong linked TV, what is it? Would you call it channel or
YouTube
network?
channel. It was, yeah, well, they have a YouTube channel. So they had an interview. They're interviewing some American. I can't remember. I can't remember what he was, what his position was or anything. But he was saying that he he does see uh the possibility of an armed conflict between China and Taiwan in the upcoming 10, 20, maybe 30 years.
Was it Ian Easton by any chance?
The guy that we were just talking about? No, no. Let me
The
see if
the
I can.
guy that was interviewed on NTV, was it Ian Easton?
No, no, I don't think so. Let me see
Because
if I
Ian
can pull it up.
Easton recently did another video with Chris Chappell, and he's the guy who has a lot of knowledge on like the military situation.
Hmm. No, let me see if I can pull it up here.
I think he would also say something like that too. Like, yeah, there's definitely a chance.
I think, well, I'm not sure. Okay, so I think he might have been saying because the US might get involved. Ting Tang Ren. Let me see if I can pull this up. Is it this one? Yeah, I think it was this one, so I can send it to you. Um, oh, so it's all in Chinese, so I couldn't even tell you what his name was. But anyway, like I think he was saying, oh, I can't remember what example they were using before, where somebody, I can't remember if it was the Vietnam War or the Korean War, where they basically oh no, I think they were doing they were talking about Japan in World War II and how they attacked Pearl Harbor, and that that was provocative, obviously, and then that
Yeah,
kind of made
to
that
say the least, right?
yeah, and that triggered the United States into going, okay, we're going to the Pacific, we're going to Asia to fuck shit up. So so I think his point was if China were to start anything, that the US might get involved, but Taiwan's not obviously US territory, so I don't think that
No,
that's a false that's kind of a false equivalency.
I think, well, I mean, we do know though that the US is legally bound to intervene if there is some kind of conflict though.
Yeah, the Taiwan Relations Act.
Yeah, that's right. They have, I mean, it's a lot like NATO, right? Like NATO has the situation where like if one person is attacked, then like the other person has to go and aid them, you know.
Yeah. I wonder, do you really see the US coming to Taiwan's aid?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
Because
can
that,
see that. I mean, not I don't know. I mean, I think like I said, if something's going to happen, we're going to know about it way ahead of time, right? So I feel like America would probably send submarines or ships to the east coast of Taiwan, or maybe try to like sneak some things into the Taiwan Strait
mm,
and to try to like kind of cut things off before they really even get going, you know?
mm,
I definitely think that anybody living in Jinmen or Matsu is totally fucked though.
jeez.
Like if there's any kind of fighting at all,
Yeah.
just because of how close they are, right? Like those two places are done. Like they're just done. They have no chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh, I don't know. I
It's too bad. I've been there. Those people are really friendly. They're really
don't.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, Thai second term, what do you expect from her?
I expect that things are going to continue very much the same way they've been going for the last 4 years.
In a positive direction?
I think in a
Negative?
positive direction. I don't think things are going to be like crazy great. I don't think they're going to be crazy horrible. I think they're just going to be stable,
Hmm.
you
Okay.
know. I think we're definitely going to continue to see the benefits of the trade war, right? Like Taiwan seems to be the number one country that's benefiting from the trade war.
Hmm.
So,
What do you know the specifics of that? Like what American
no, I
companies?
don't have statistics, but I've seen it over and over and over again in many different articles and many different media platforms saying that if anybody's gaining, Taiwan's gaining. Like they're gaining the most.
Like are
Right.
American companies like looking to invest in Taiwan?
I've heard that. I've heard that that Taiwanese companies are returning to Taiwan, right? Or that they've pledged to move money back to Taiwan, right? You know, as
Okay.
opposed to China because, right, just the cost of doing business has shifted, you know.
Right. Okay. Okay. Um, Another thing that I read was about how like wages aren't compared to I think Hong Kong and Korea, wages have not kept up as much in Taiwan.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I've heard that I read an article recently. I think it was in Katagalang Media. They're on Facebook mostly. They're
Mm,
very good. But
mm,
I think if I remember correctly that if Taiwan was totally unhindered and she got everything she wanted, that the minimum wage in Taiwan now would be $40,000 a month.
mm.
And right now it's not even close to that.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
should be though. Like it's obviously it's way too low. Like the amount of money that young people make is way too low, and the hours that they work are a lot, and they deserve much more.
Yeah. It's very different. I mean, do they even have Saturdays off? Is
Nope.
Saturday considered a weekend? Yeah, it's not, eh?
No, well, I mean, there is. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot of people who get Saturday and Sunday off,
Yeah.
but there's also a huge amount of people who work 6 days a week, or if you're me, you work 7 days a week.
You still work 7 days a week, eh?
Yep.
Ah,
Yep.
crazy,
I,
crazy.
I didn't want to make this podcast about me, but yeah, I'm still working 7 days a week, dude. I haven't had a day off in I don't know. I mean, we started trying to build the business in like late October, so I haven't had a day off since late October.
Oh, jeez,
Not a
jeez.
single day at all.
I don't know what to say.
You know what? It's not as bad as it seems.
Mm,
Like after a while, you kind of get used to it.
okay.
Not that bad. Like you can do it.
Mm,
Like it's not fun. I'm not pretending like I'm having a great time because I'm not.
yeah.
But but it's not as miserable as you think it might be.
Okay.
And I think we might actually be able to make a very modest profit this month if we
Nice.
continue the way we're going. So that's very good. That's a
Okay.
major change
Okay.
from what was going on before.
Okay.
And I think I'm in a better headspace than I was before.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I was kind of in a bit of a dark place for a little while, but I'm
Mm,
okay now.
that's good. Good to hear. Um, yeah, if you ever, just putting it out there, if you're ever in that dark space again, feel free to hit me up. We can just
Yeah,
do, we could just
yeah.
do,
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
we can just do like a Skype call just cause.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, man. Same, same. Like if you need anything, let me know, right?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, curious though. Who, because we have the left and right in the West. The left meaning more higher taxes for the rich, and the right meaning lower taxes overall. What's that spectrum like in Taiwan? Is the KMT? I think last time we talked, I think the KMT was higher taxation and DPP was lower.
Yeah, so you know what? Like this is kind of why I liked that recent thing that Chris Chappell did with Lev Nachman, because Nachman basically tried to steer Chris away from all of those stereotypes, right?
Right. Right.
Because like a lot of people try to make Taiwan like America, and it's not, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a very clear like left versus right, like
Yeah.
big government, small government, high taxes, low taxes kind of thing. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's more based on identity, right?
Mm,
And about who you consider yourself and about what you want your future to be.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm.
And so, I mean, I think you'll find cases of the KMT doing things that you could consider to be left wing and right wing, and the same goes for the DPP, right?
Okay. Could you be able to tell right away, like tell me um whether or
Well,
not
I'll tell you, we talked about this a long time ago. I don't know if it was during a podcast or not, but there was some labor protests going on, and the NPP that who I consider to still be, even though they don't have the same party members that they used to have, I still consider them to be a genuine left party because they're very pro-labor,
mm,
right? And they're supportive of workers when they start striking or protesting. And the DPP is not always pro-labor. The
yeah.
DPP is sometimes very pro-business,
Mm,
right? And even though Americans like to try to simplify things and stereotype them as DPP is liberal and KMT is conservative, that's not actually how they behave all of the time. You
do
know what
do
I
you
mean?
think the so what about the KMT then, economically?
I think that they're probably like the DPP. Like sometimes they're left, sometimes they're right.
Mm,
If you want like a concrete example of things, like let's go to the airline protests, right? Do you remember
right.
that?
Yeah.
Like there was some big strikes with the major airlines here in Taiwan, And basically, I didn't see either party, KMT or DPP, backing up the protesters.
Mm.
In fact, I saw just about everybody except for like the minority, like, New Power Party and some other left-wing parties like that backing them up, right? Like everyone seemed to be shitting all over the protesters and talking about how selfish they were.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah.
It's just one of these. Taiwan is one of those places in the world where it's not about left and right, it's about identity.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You know
see
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a small collection of places in the world where it's like that. Like if you go to Ireland, the Northern Ireland, right? It's very much like that. It's
Mhm.
not really about left and right. It's more about your identity,
Yeah. Whether or not you're kind of
right?
separatist.
Whether or not you consider yourself British or Irish. There's
Mm.
other places like that too. Places like I don't know. You probably think of like Kosovo would probably be like that. Um, Places like maybe the Basque Country in Spain, maybe Catalonia in Spain. Places where you have like ethnic or racial kind of tensions.
Mm. Yeah. Fair.
It kind of gets like that, right? Like the party doesn't represent left or right. The party represents like a race or it represents like an ethnic group.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of wanted to read out a thread about, let's see, a great, on how to think about whether Taiwan is a Chinese democracy. Do you mind if I give it a quick read?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay, so a more serious threat on decolonization, authoritarianism, and and the zombie of the Republic of China that just won't die.
Oh boy, who's the writer?
James Lin, I don't know. The
Okay, I don't
idea
know
of
James Lin.
China, the idea of Chineseness is not an exclusive national sphere, meaning that being Chinese is not merely because you have a PRC passport or an ROC passport that one can be Chinese.
Okay, I agree with that.
It's a term that spans ethnicity, identities, race, this diaspora, language,
Diaspora. Yeah, diaspora.
diaspora, language, culture, ancestry, etc. This becomes complicated because political actors, whether nation states, dictators, migrants, etc., have co-opted and reconstructed the term for specific political purposes.
Mm.
In the case of Taiwan, it was ruled for over 40 years by an authoritarian regime whose political legitimacy was in part defined by its Chinese authenticity. Some argue this is a type of chauvinism, but I wouldn't agree. It's political and historical. The KMT was founded in a revolutionary moment of Chinese nationalism. Sun Yat-sen evoked the language of revolutionary nationalism against multi-ethnic Qing rule and offered a Han-centric vision of a nation-state that would return power to the Chinese people. This legacy continued under Chiang Kai-shek. When Chiang Kai-shek lost to the communists and retreated to Taiwan, the KMT doubled down on its identity as being the authentic China. For the KMT elite, this was absolutely necessary. They could not accept that Taiwan was a permanent home. The fragility of KMT rule had to be held together by the idea that would, uh, that they would. Well, I think he made an error here, but we're
Oh, is there a
upholding.
typo?
Yeah, typo. We're upholding the true values of China, and that they would one day return to the mainland and free their compatriots of communist rule.
Mm.
You'll see this in oral histories of the KMT. Um, Malon Mayer's book, for example, shows how one 外省人 woman classically trained in Peking opera saw it as her patriotic duty to maintain authentic Chinese culture and to continue performing it in Taiwan to educate the Taiwanese. Oh, okay, so it's kind of a long thread, but I found it to
Mm.
be kind of
I,
interesting.
I get the gist of it, and I
Yeah,
think I agree. I don't think that being Chinese is so simple. I think it
yeah,
is complicated, and I don't think you have to have a certain passport to call yourself that. I think that's stupid.
yeah. I mean,
I don't know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I don't think you need a PRC passport to call yourself Chinese.
no,
Do
no,
you?
hell no. I mean, I I've told you, like I identify as like, um,
You don't have a PRC passport, but I
no,
think you definitely identify as Chinese to some extent, don't you?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So
I don't
so
even
that's
own
not
a
necessary. You don't need to be a PRC citizen.
no. I mean, I don't even have an ROC passport.
Yeah. See,
So,
so there you go. It's not really relevant, is it?
yeah. All
Who
right.
cares
So,
what your paperwork is?
yeah. So, what? Okay, next 2 years, what do you see happening? Tai's
Ne
administration.
Next 2 years. I think it's gonna, well, like I said, yeah, I think it's gonna continue the way the way it has been.
What do you want to see?
What do I want to see? I want to see the economy get a little bit better. I want to see
Mhm.
wages go up a little bit. I don't think that if she does push for like a higher minimum wage, I don't think she should do that too terribly quickly. I mean, I think if you try to do that super quickly, I think it'll cause like a shock and it could cause like serious job loss. So if you're going to do like some kind of increase in the minimum wage, I feel like it should be slow and it should be done in phases. Um, that's something I'd like to see. I'd like to see the domestic weapons programs like continue and follow through.
What
I
is
want to
that?
see I want to see the submarines get built
Okay.
um, and be operational. I want to see those fighter jets delivered. I want to see the fighter jets that are already here upgraded. Um, I mean, we've talked about this to some extent before, but I want to see training increased. I want to see troops given better pay. I want them to see them more highly motivated. And I want people to not feel so down. Like
Mm,
things aren't actually that bad, but I feel like a lot of times Taiwan doesn't do a very good job of talking about herself, of
mm,
making her own case,
mm.
or presenting her own accomplishments very well. I feel
Yeah.
like she's a little bit too quiet, you know? I feel
Yeah.
like she doesn't really make her own case very well.
Yeah. Han, Korean fish is somebody that would be able to toot his own horn a little bit
Oh,
better,
yeah, no, he's like in that way, he's like Trump, right? He's like the opposite. He'd be like, look how amazing I am. I just got this done and it only took me this long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, like when he went off to Hong Kong and Macau and met with the communist officials, and he comes back and he's like, "See that? I just got these deals done. We're gonna be selling tons and tons of guavas and papayas over there. We're gonna be rich. We're
Yeah.
rich, I tell you. We're all gonna be rich."
Yeah. Yeah.
That was one of
Yeah.
the crazy things he said, that which never came true.
Mm.
That, along with he said he was gonna drill for oil in the South China Sea. Did you hear that one?
Oh no, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, there's this one island that Taiwan controls down there called Taiping,
Okay.
and he said he wanted to do oil drilling down there,
Hmm.
and it was going to make Kaohsiung rich.
Oh,
And
okay.
then somebody from the military came out, and they're like, "Bro, there isn't any oil down here. What are you talking about?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, like dumbass. There's no oil here. Like
Wait,
you're not gonna do that. Like it's not gonna happen.
so is he going to continue to be mayor then?
Yeah, so now that he's been defeated, he's going to remain as Kaohsiung mayor for the time being. There is a very strong movement to remove him, though.
Within his own party?
No, from the citizens of Kaohsiung.
Oh, right. I
They're
think,
trying to do a recall.
yeah.
Just before the election, they held a giant rally in
Yeah, I think you
Kaohsiung
saw that. Yeah.
of like 500,000 people,
Yeah.
and they delivered the petitions to like the city hall, and they're like, "Get this motherfucker out of here!" And they passed the first round, but I think there's two rounds. Like you have to do a petition, and you have to get 300,000 signatures, and then in the second round, I think you have to get, I don't know, like 400,000 or 500,000. I have no idea. But it's more. Like the first round, you get have so many signatures, and the second round, you have to have more.
Yeah, I saw a picture comparing the Kaohsiung, I guess rally or protest, and it was comparing it with Hong Kong. Like there was a two pictures that side by side look very similar.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It was huge. It was it was pretty astounding.
Yeah. So do you see him being kicked out?
Um, I don't know, man. It's really hard to gather that many signatures. That being said, he's said so many stupid things and he's pissed off so many people that they might actually get it done.
I wonder if he would even want the job. Like he kind of already
You know what? Did you hear the latest scandal? You know
no.
that just only 2 years ago he was trying to immigrate to Canada, don't you?
No, I don't know this.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh my God, yeah, that's just the latest one. He was trying to move his family 2 years ago. He was trying to move his family to Montreal or something.
Hmm. Weird. Weird pick.
Yeah, his apparently his wife and daughter didn't want to live in Taiwan anymore. Like they just had given up on Taiwan, and he was gonna do it,
Huh.
but then he backed out because somebody, some KMT official was like, "Hey, bro, do you want to run for Kaohsiung mayor?"
Hmm. What was his position before that?
I don't know. He was something to do with vegetables, like something with cabbage or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
Something like that.
Okay. Am I okay, fair enough. I mean, yeah, after suffering such a loss, I don't know if he would even want to be in the public sphere. Because I think
Yeah,
he was kind of
who could
like
say?
I think he was planning to win and then not having to do the mayor job. I don't think he was
Oh, that was
planning to
definitely his
lose.
plan, and
Yeah,
he
yeah,
definitely thought he was going to get it. But that
yeah.
was like back during what the beginning of 2018
Yeah. So I wonder if he would
or
even
sorry,
want
2019. Excuse me, 2019.
yeah, yeah,
Right? But I mean, as that year went on, like he continued to slip. You know.
yeah. So I wonder if he would even want the job.
Who knows?
Um,
He probably feels like shit right now. Like if you're him, you probably feel really embarrassed.
um,
Although you did tell me he seemed to take it well in his speech, right?
so say again?
You seemed to tell me that he seemed to take it pretty well during his speech, right?
Oh, well, no, I just heard him say,
Or that he
um,
was dignified about it.
yeah, yeah. He was just
What
saying,
did he say exactly?
he just said, what one of the sentences that were said was, I didn't, I didn't work hard enough. I'm translating from Mandarin, of course.
Yeah, right.
But and then you heard the crowd going, "No, it's not your fault. No, don't be so hard on yourself." Stuff like that. Like,
Those classic con fans.
yeah, yeah. Which I commented, I don't think I would see much of in Canada. They would just be like the politician that lost would just talk about how, oh, we did a good job, we ran
We
a
tried our best,
we
blah blah
tried our
blah.
best, and like we had a great coalition and we're not gonna give up. They would never say I didn't try hard enough or anything like that. Yeah, that's not really something that you would expect to hear.
That's not that bad though. I think the only thing that really annoys me is like when you do like like a Hillary Clinton and you're like, it's literally everyone's fault but not me.
Yeah, that's I yeah, I God.
Like it's you and you and you and it's the weather and it's the young people and it's like, I would have won if it wasn't for you stinking kids and your stupid dog too.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. God damn it. Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just everything but not me. Like everything but personal responsibility.
Yeah. Would have been kind of interesting to see a Hillary Clinton and President Tsai in the same room kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
who knows, bro? Who knows? Do
yeah.
you think Trump is going to call her and congratulate her?
Oh, oh wait, because yeah,
Do you
she did the
think?
same
I
to
mean, it
him.
happened last time. It happened
Well,
last time.
in the other way around, the other way around.
Yeah, but he took the
President Trump.
call.
Yeah, so you think Trump is gonna call him? Do I think Trump is gonna call him? Well, it hasn't happened yet.
No, not yet, but that doesn't mean it couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't this usually happen like the night of?
I don't know. I mean, there could be a delay of a few days before it starts to get weird,
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I'd
right? Like
like,
if it was like a week later, it would be weird.
yeah. I mean, would you want that to happen?
Yeah, sure. I don't see why not. I mean, when I don't like I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. When the guy does something right, then he does something right, and I'll say so. If he calls Taiwan and he says good job, congratulations, I think that's a good thing to do. I would be happy.
And you don't care that that would piss off Beijing?
No.
Okay, when you say when Trump does the right thing, so you would think that this is like a right thing to do.
Yeah, I don't see why not. If Taiwan and America are very friendly with each other, they're unofficial allies, and I don't see why you wouldn't call an ally and congratulate them.
I mean, isn't that call kind of like an official act?
Yes, but so what?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. And I'm just coming at you
I
from
just
like this.
I don't see why America has to play by Beijing's rules.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Like, okay, well, you're upset, but that's not my problem. Like, that's your problem.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I
okay,
mean?
okay. So the last two things that I wanted to cover. So I was watching some old um Maingjo talks, and I forgot how good his English was. I don't know if you've
Is
seen
it really?
his, well, compared to other Taiwanese politicians, yeah. I mean,
I think that Taiwan is pretty damn good.
oh yeah, she's pretty good too. But I think Ma was the translator for a really old president, like during
Who Lee Donghui?
the one before that. Um,
Before that, oh boy, who's before that? I'll have to
it
look. Hold on, I'm gonna look that up.
it was Jiang
Oh,
Jingguo,
okay,
Chiang Kai-shek's son, I think.
we shall see.
I'm pretty sure.
There's Chiang Kai-shek from 1948 to 1975, and then he died. And then
Yeah,
Chiang Ching-kuo,
I
who
think it
you
was him.
said was his son, who was 1975 to 1988.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there
I
you
think
go.
Ma was his translator back then.
Yeah,
Yeah, so his English was good. But anyway, so he was
I
talking
wouldn't be
about
surprised. Didn't Ma Ying-jeou go to Harvard or something?
some, yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah,
So I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah. He was giving like a public talk with one of his old professors. But anyway, he was talking about the One China policy and how the 92 consensus isn't equivalent to the One China policy, and that the 92 consensus is basically Beijing thinks that it's the One China policy, but on the Republic of China side, the Taiwan side, it's we both have our different interpretations of it. So on Chinese side is they're 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 obviously very stern on what their position is, but on the Taiwan side, it's we both have different interpretations. Um, so so in that sense, I mean, I understand that China-US relations is the foundation of that is that the US has to agree on the Chinese interpretation of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
So
Mhm.
that's why they didn't make that phone call for like what, 40 years, I think it
Yeah,
was.
but then Trump came along and Trump doesn't care what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're basically yeah, so we're basically grateful for what would you even call this? Like a typhoon of a president.
Yeah, a typhoon or a hurricane or I don't know, dude, a freak of nature, really.
Yeah, because remember I showed you how Clinton was thinking about like selling Taiwan to China.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Is that really that surprising? She's just gross. She's just a disgusting person, eh?
Like
Did you see
that's
her recently? She was on Howard Stern and she just
yeah,
was so nasty. Like, she
yeah.
was just
Well,
so completely nasty.
yeah, I saw
It
that.
was the same old shit, like blaming everybody else, getting really nasty with people who took time out of their schedules to try and help her win.
Yeah,
You
I saw
know,
that. Yeah,
yeah, not good.
yeah. So
She's still as bad as she ever was.
yeah, I mean, yeah, like the reason why I painted the picture of President Tsai and President Clinton, potentially Hillary Clinton, in a hypothetical scenario is because they're both short women with short hair, except like President
That's where
Tsai
the
has,
comparison ends, though.
yeah, I mean, President Tsai, like they kind of, but not really have a similar hairstyle. I don't know. But then.
Really? I
No,
don't
no.
know.
Well, it's just short. I don't know. And then President Tai obviously has black hair, and Clinton is a blonde. I don't know.
They do wear those pantsuits.
Yeah, yeah. That's what that is.
They
Yeah, yeah,
both wear the pantsuits.
yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Although
Um.
Hillary has a lot more different ones. She's got ones with more color.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that were to happen, if like Clinton would get more along with President Tai than she, but then,
I think Clinton would have been a lot like Obama, and I think Obama tried very hard not to piss off China.
okay, fair, fair.
Definitely. I think it would have been exactly the same as Obama.
Right. Okay, last question, because I haven't had breakfast yet. Um,
Oh boy,
do,
sorry. I'm
no, no,
ruining it, huh?
no. Does President Tai get to run again after in 2024, or do they have the
No, no, there's term limits.
so 2 terms?
Yeah, yeah. I'm almost positive that
Okay,
it's just like the United States where you get 8 years and that's it.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
cool. I wonder
I
to
don't think after having a person um like Chiang Kai-shek and Chiang Ching-kuo that Taiwan ever wants to go back to having somebody
no term
staying in
limits.
power longer than 8 years.
Yeah, yeah, fair, fair.
They've
Um,
had bad experiences in the past.
yeah. Do you see anyone uh after Tai and on the head of DPP?
I don't know. Maybe it could be Lai Ching-te,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe,
Okay.
possibly, right?
Anyone
Or
else?
maybe it could be some of the younger people in the
Mm,
DPP. One
mm.
of the former leaders of the Sunflower Student Movement, I think it's Lin Fei Fan or something like that.
Don't you think
Um,
that's a little too young to be president, though? I mean,
well, I wasn't going to say president, but I was going to say maybe he could get like elected to like a seat in the LY, and then maybe a little bit while longer, like
I
after
see.
he gets some
Right,
experience, he could
right,
try and run for president.
right. Gotcha,
You know what
gotcha.
I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
On the KMT side, I think there's actually a grandson of Chiang Kai-shek, and I think
Mm.
he's actually kind of rising up recently.
How old is he?
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if I remember his name correctly.
But you're sure he's the grandson?
I think if you Google that, I think he might have been running in this recent election. I think I have to Google it.
Okay.
Google it just now. I think if you Google Chiang Kai-shek grants, it'll um, so, oh,
One
and
is 77 years old, and one.
okay, so here we go. Chiang Kai-shek's great grandson says, "No room for one country, two systems." Chiang's great grandson, KMT legislator, says, "One country, two systems will never work for Taiwan." Blah blah blah. This is very old, but
There's a 40-year-old one that looks pretty young.
KMT legislator Chong Wan-an. So I think that's his name right there.
Wan An?
Yeah, I think it's here, I'll send it to you.
I think I know. He's 40 years old, right?
I'm not entirely sure. I'll send you his name and then you can Google it.
Yeah, that guy.
Do you
Yeah.
recognize that?
No, well, I'm looking at his picture now for the first time. But he went to
His
Penn
written name though,
Law?
do you recognize that?
No, no.
Okay.
But he went to university in the States. I'm just reading it right now.
Oh, hey, it
Okay.
looks like he's on Twitter.
He's on Instagram.
He's on Facebook too.
Yeah.
Here he is. Dude, he looks he's a handsome dude. You
So
know he is
he's
though. Look, come on, we don't. I'm a secure dude. I can say that. It's fine.
yeah, no,
He's
no,
handsome.
no.
He's a handsome guy.
It's just not completely. Well, I might attract some voters, maybe.
Oh, for sure, dude. I mean, there's definitely some girls around who only think about silly such things.
Hmm.
I'll send you the link to his Facebook page.
Wait, so he's the great grandson of.
Yeah, I was sorry, I was wrong. He's not the grandson, he's the great grandson.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So there you can check. He look, come on, you got to be honest. He's a handsome man.
Yeah. 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 I'm looking at it right now.
It's isn't
Um.
it? Am I right or am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
He's a handsome guy. He is.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess.
He would
Um.
get some votes.
Say again. You broke up.
I said he would definitely get some votes based on that.
Oh, sure. I'm sure. And the power and the prestige.
Put a suit on him. Put a nice suit on him, and he would look really good. A lot
I
of
bet
them.
he had, I bet he has an ego though, being this great grandson of the great Chiang Kai-shek.
You know what? I think his English is really good. I think years ago, I could be wrong. It might be another grandson or something, but I think I remember hearing a YouTube interview with him, or maybe a radio interview with him on ICRT, and he actually is not really one of those guys who's like, "Do you know who I am? Do you know what family I come from?"
Mm,
Um, like he doesn't really like that, or he doesn't really go for that. Like he's like, yes, I am from this family, I am that guy, but that's not why you should be that's not why you should vote for me, or that's not why you should be talking to me, or why you should
hmm.
be concerned with me, right?
Okay.
Because I
Yeah.
have my own ideas, and I want to do this and that.
Right. Um.
He'd
So
probably be a really interesting guy to talk to.
I'm sure. I mean, he worked as a business lawyer in the United States.
Like I'm sure we would disagree on like so many things, but he would be interesting to talk to for sure.
Did you say that he was against the One China policy?
From this article that I was reading, just very briefly, that's what it says. The headline says that Shek's great grandson says no room, quote, no room for one country, two systems.
Can you send that to me?
Yeah, here, sure. Hold on just 1 second. It's from Taiwan News, the one that's run by
Mhm.
Keone. There it is. Did you get it?
Yeah.
There's a picture of a burning car in the thumbnail for some reason.
Okay. Okay.